Hey guys, welcome. In this video, we're going to talk about exponents, specifically negative exponents and rational exponents, and how to work with them. The exponents that you are probably most familiar with already look like this. X squared, also known as x to the second power or x raised to the second power, which just means x times x. So we've got our base x raised to the second, meaning we have two factors of x. Similarly, we have y cubed, so our base is raised to the third power. But we can also have exponents like this, x raised to the negative 2. So how do we work with that? Well, we can rewrite that as 1 over x to the positive 2 power. And when we do that, when we put that expression in of x to the negative 2, now in the denominator, that makes the exponent positive. I'm not going to get into the whole mathematical theory about how that is at the moment. I may do that in another video, but right now I just want to focus on the how-to to help you crank through your homework and get this right on tests. So the same technique is true if we have a number to the negative power, such as 7 to the negative 3, we can write that as 1 over 7 to the third power. So it's very important to remember that when we have an expression like this, we're going to put 1 over whatever that is and change that exponent to a positive number. Now, if you have an expression like 2x to the negative 5, notice that the negative exponent is only affecting the x part of that. It's not affecting the 2. So if we want to rewrite that so that it has a positive exponent, the 2 is going to go in the numerator, and that x to the 5th will go in the denominator. So why don't you try this one? 3x squared y to the negative 7th. So I invite you to pause the video and give that a try. Okay, so in that case, what we do is notice the 3x squared. That's all positive exponents, so that goes in the numerator. And then this y to the negative 7th, well, we're going to move that to the denominator, and it becomes y to the positive 7th. You can rewrite expressions in the opposite direction as well. So 1 over x to the 5th would become x to the negative 5. And 4 over x cubed can be rewritten as 4x to the negative 3. So let's look at another situation. What if we have an exponent that is a fraction? Okay, so this is what's known as a rational exponent. All right, so let's look at x to the 1/2 power. So when we say rational exponent, again, we mean it's written as a ratio, which is what a fraction is. So what does it mean? Well, it means the square root of x. If you have x to the 1/5 power, it means the 5th root of x. So the 5th root of x we write like that. So notice the denominator of the rational exponent is the index number. Okay, the index number is this number that goes right here in this little corner of the radical sign. Now, we don't write the index number if it's a 2. It's just understood that we mean square root. If it's something other than the square root, we write that index number. Now, what about the numerator? Well, it's really incorporated right in here. We don't write x to the 1st because that's just understood. It's just x to the 1st power. But that's what that 1 means here. Let's take a look at another example that where we have something other than 1 in the numerator. we'll look at x to the 2/3 power. So this means, okay, the cube root of x squared, and we can write it just like that. So again, the denominator is the index number. The numerator is the power that the base, x, is being raised to. We can also apply this to numbers, of course. So 8 raised to the 1/3 power means the cube root of 8. And 8 is a perfect cube, so we can even just simplify that to 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, or 2 to the 3rd power is 8. How about if we have 8 raised to the 2/3 power? So I invite you to pause the video a moment and think through that one, just noticing that we have a similar situation here with a variable. Okay, so we can rewrite this as the cube root of 8 squared. And we can work that out. We can do this either way. I'll show you two ways. One is that you can square the 8, which is 64, and then take the cube root of 64, which is 4. Or you can take the cube root of 8, and it helps to rewrite it this way, actually, if you want to do it this method, which I think is easier because you're going to work with smaller numbers. You can write 8 to the 1/3, which is the cube root of 8, and that's 2, and we square that, and we get 4. So let's take a quick look now at what happens if we have both a negative exponent and it's also a rational exponent, so x to the -1/2. So for this type of expression, I strongly recommend handling this in 2 steps. The first one is we're going to get rid of that negative sign by rewriting this as 1 over x to the 1/2 power. And then we're going to rewrite it, just rewriting the denominator. So instead of x to the 1/2, we can rewrite that as the square root of x. So our final expression is 1 over the square root of x. So that's a look at working with negative and rational exponents. If you have any math problems you'd like to see featured, please let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching.